Three pastas that are not what they seem. All monsters are human. You've always had a slightly ridiculous phobia of mirrors. It's never interfered with your life before, except in small and completely inconsequential ways. You'd close your eyes during a middle school session of Bloody Mary, would rush past them in a dark hallway, things any red-blooded American raised on a steady diet of horror and gore would call more habit than oddity. One night, late, you're getting ready to go out with some friends. You feel grimy, so you all decide to get ready at your apartment where you can clean up with your own products. Everyone's hanging out, taking pictures, and generally having fun as you decide to wash your makeup off and start fresh. You decide that the quickest way to do this is the way they show in commercials, where you get it all over with at once by splashing water over your tightly shut eyes and completely soaking your bathroom floor. You glance up quickly to be sure that your friends didn't notice your moment of hesitation when it's time to close your eyes and scrub within sight of the mirror. As you rinse off your face, your eyes open to see your reflection staring back at you, which is not unusual. What is slightly off, however, is that when you go to leave, the other you does not. You stare at each other with wide eyes, waiting to see what happens next. You turn to your friends to see if they're seeing what you're seeing, to find their grins growing wider, too wide to be quite human. Their eyes turn black as coal, and they start to walk forward. Your reflection and your friends' reflections start to scream. Your friends lunge forward towards their doppelgangers. You always knew you were on the wrong side. Lazy Saturday night. Here I lay, all snuggled up in bed, warm and satisfied under the soft silk covers, watching some stupid documentary on TV I'd never heard of. I'd turn the channel, but the gallon tub of cookie dough ice cream wouldn't let me use my hands for anything other than shoveling the frozen treat into my mouth. Nights like these are rare. It isn't often that everyone's out of the house but me, so I make sure to savor them. In fact, I wasn't expecting anyone back until the morning. That's what made the sound of the door opening downstairs so alarming. Panic hits me like a steam train. I silently leap out from under the covers, spilling the ice cream all over the pristine white carpet on the floor, and creak open the wardrobe next to the bed. I hear footsteps, heavy and indiscreet, like they want you to know they're here. I gasp and pick up the spoon I had just been using to enjoy a relaxing night. The footsteps get louder. I force myself into the minuscule space remaining in the wardrobe and close the door, just as the stranger opens the bedroom door, not sparing any seconds for silence. I peer through the gap. His face looks familiar, but I can't place my finger on where I know him from. He spots the spilled ice cream and darts his head across to the wide expanse of the bedroom. "Hello?" he calls, not sounding vicious, but I've made that mistake before. Never, under any circumstances, assume friendliness from a voice. He looks under the bed. Oh crap, he's looking for someone. I hold back a whimper and start bending the bowl of the spoon back and forth, hoping to snap it off and create some way of defending myself. It snaps, but creates a metallic click. The man turns his head around and makes his way to the wardrobe. I am shaking now. Please don't open it. Please don't open it. The door swings open, and he sees me. We scream simultaneously in fear and surprise. Without hesitation, I leap onto the man and start digging into whatever stretch of flesh I can with the sharp edge of the spoon handle. He screeches in clear pain, but I won't stop. I hammer the handle deep into his chest and neck, over and over, until he becomes motionless. I've I've killed him. I cry in disgust and sprint downstairs away from the house. I charge down the road until I feel like I'm far enough away. I sit down for a moment and exhale heavily before regaining my composure. Pulling out my phone, I open Twitter and search #party. Hopefully this time, I'll find a household that isn't lying when they say they'll be out all night. The window. I was in my bedroom doing the typical at-home teenager thing, staying up late, digging around the depths of the internet, and generally not paying attention to anything other than what was on my monitor. It was the early morning, around 2 o'clock, and everyone in my house was asleep but me. The room was nice and warm, despite it being the dead of winter, since we had had the windows replaced last week. We had been losing heat, especially in my bedroom, through some old storm windows, but the bitter cold was now kept on the outside. I don't remember what I was doing. I think in the terror that consumed me, I must have forgotten. I heard a noise at my window. Not the sound of a bug flying into it, or the shrubs brushing against it. No, this was an odd noise, a thumping sound. Something I had never heard before. I didn't think anything of it initially. Whether that was because I genuinely believed it was nothing, or because I didn't want to find out what it was, I can't say. But I sat there for a moment and just listened to it. It was distinctly rhythmic. Thump, thump, thump. Thump, thump, thump. It only lasted for 15 seconds or so, and then stopped. I shuddered, but shrugged it off, after spending another hour or two browsing and consciously not looking toward the window. Turned my computer off and fell into an uneasy but uneventful sleep. This morning, after the sun had been up for a few hours, and things that go bump in the night were doing whatever they do during the daylight hours, I walked to my window and spent a few minutes trying to replicate the sound I had heard. I tapped the window, bumped it with some soft objects, even locked and unlocked it, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out what had made the sound. Nothing I did was even close. I figured that the event had just been a fluke, and the day was normal. Until this evening. My dad arrived home from work at the usual time and decided that the house was too stuffy, so he came into my room and went to open the window. We're in Texas, so winter evenings are sometimes very comfortable, as was the case today. Never in my life before that moment have I genuinely wished to be deaf. My dad forgot to unlock the window before trying to open it, and when he pulled up, it produced the same noise I heard last night. My window only has handles on the inside.